Hey everyone, we are back for another exciting episode. This week is the second one about parades with the one and only Todd Marcocci. And we have so many hosts this week. We will also find out what made Whitney say.
And of course, we still did the parade because it's Boston and those people are crazy. They did not care.
And why Steven said.
The clock tower got struck by lightning, and it was like the most loud, explosive, explosion that I've heard in my life. Just like, boom!
All this and more on this week's episode of On a Water Break.
Let's go. Set it up.
Top of the show.
Form, check form. Cover down. Do it again. Run it back. And we'll see you at the show.
Welcome to another episode of On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. I'm Jackie Brown. This week is all about parades and the stories and advice we have coming up from our special guest clinician, Todd Marcocci, warranted 2 weeks of episodes. And so we are back with part 2. This one, Todd and Beth do a deeper dive into what it takes for your band to look good at a parade and maybe some inside information of how best to apply, especially for those big parades. But before we get to Todd, let's check in and see who's staff on the sidelines this week. Who's ready to take the Long Ranger first? Steven.
Yeah, Jackie, beautiful and sunny, 70 degrees here in southeastern Pennsylvania. Clear day. The weather is nice, and I'm happy to be here.
Thanks for the weather update since we don't have Tom. Hey, Nicole.
Thank you. It's almost like you felt me like, I'm going to tell you how it is in Ohio. It's fine. I mean, it's doing well. I'm on I think a lot of you know, I'm like on my last couple of days of work this week until I go to the new job. So, I don't know. I'm excited about that. And, excited about getting into talking about a little bit more parades.
Yes. Oh, parades are my favorite. I know I say this all the time, but they're literally my favorite. Hey, Trevor.
Hey, Jackie. Everything's going great here in North Carolina. Most colleges and universities are out for the semester celebration. I'm so happy about that. So we're just winding into the summer months, getting ready for summer music camps, getting ready for drum corps. We'll talk a little bit about that later. And I can't wait to talk about parades as well. So it's great to see everyone.
And hasn't been on with us live in a long time, but Whitney's here. Yay!
Hi.
Pew, 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 pew.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's been a while, but school is officially over today, and I actually didn't have anything tonight for the first time in a very long time, so I'm here.
Well, we are very excited. You are here. In fact, let's get to our gush and goes. Trevor, do you want to start us off? You seemed like you had some stories you were ready to jump into.
Oh man, I'm gushing and I'm going, and I'm gushing about how excited I am about concluding our semester on a strong note, just like a lot of band programs probably and winter guard programs did over the last month or so. But incredibly excited about jumping back on the train and designing new shows and hiring new staff and training new members and bringing new people in. It's going to be an exciting summer. I'm going to be able to catch a couple of drum corps shows and be on the road and teach a little bit. So I'm incredibly happy about that. And I'm great to be here for episode 29 of On the Water Break. So nice to be here.
Whitney, what do you want to gush about this week?
Well, Crown just announced their show 2 hours ago, so I was going to read that for everybody. It is called, oh my God, Drogon, killing me. It's called
I love dogs, it's okay.
It's called The Round Table, Echoes of Camelot. A legend told for centuries, the boy who would be king, compelled to embrace his destiny, King Arthur assembled a court of brave, fierce, and honorable followers who pledge their lives and loyalty to him. Their shared vision to create a kingdom where justice, harmony, and the noble principles of chivalry prevail. And Camelot, the court and stronghold of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, was the epicenter of their dreams and mythic quests.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a great Crown show.
Yeah.
This
Let's
is
go.
right back in the bag that I like Crown to exist in.
Let's
That
go, Crown.
storytelling.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Some of the
That
best storytellers on the
storytelling and
field.
theatrical type of thing.
Yeah.
They're they're going to do a great moment pulling the sword from the stone.
Yes.
Has there ever been a drum corps show that covered like this story in any way that anybody knows of?
Probably in like the 80s. I have no idea.
You know, yes, probably. I mean, that's the only time I've ever heard of a storyline like this for a drum corps show. So
It does feel kind of old school. Yeah, I agree
It
with
does.
Whitney. Yeah.
which I am all about the old school. Please bring that back.
Yes.
Like
The
I
repertoire.
it right, the repertoire or anything. Like, I mean, I watch a lot of like baking shows or cooking shows, and they're, you know, people like, this is the reinvention or reimagined grilled cheese. Do that for me for a drum corps show, please. I would love that. Reimagine some grilled cheese for me on the field. Go.
Presenting their 2023 program, Reimagined Grilled Cheese, the On a Water Break Drum Corps.
The literal on a water break drum corps. We'd have to bring the Couchman back for this one, I think.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
Couchman, yes.
Couch people.
Well, I guess it would be my turn to gush and go now.
Go for it.
My biggest gush and goes, honestly, I've gotten now into, I love seeing all of the posts on social media with kids like, I'm leaving for drum corps and all this. Like, I love seeing it. It makes me super like nostalgic. I don't have any FOMO because I am extremely, like, honestly excited just to be in the stands and watching this year when I can. But like, I am super, I don't want to say excited because like I get excited over a lot of things. I am, yeah, it's true. I'm hyped to see what's going to be happening out there. Like, ever since we came back from being away and the world shut down, like there's a different kind of fire. Like, everyone goes out and works. We know that. You know what I mean? And we've all been there. But like, there's a different kind of fire now, and I'm all for it because I'm just looking at these people and I'm looking at these performers like do superhero type stuff, you know,
Right.
in my
It's almost like they have that understanding. Like, they actually, you know, when you're a kid and you're performing and your instructors are always like, you never know, this could be taken away from you at any minute. And then like it really got taken away from kids. And so now they like understand that and they're like, oh wait, it really could be taken away from us. And they're like, we're gonna milk every drop of this and perform our hearts out.
exactly. And I love that because I think that's what I've been seeing for the last couple of years is that, because you know, it has been taken away from some people before. So I'm just gushing to be a really loud spectator come drum corps season.
Nice. I want to gush. I don't know if it's a gush so much this week. I made an Instagram post about this. I don't even know if I've posted it yet, but by the time this episode airs, I will have posted it. That is my goal. That circuit meetings for Winter Guard indoor activity circuits are coming up very soon. And if you are participating in your circuit at all, you should go to your circuit meeting and you should go and vote on proposals and things like that. I think a lot of people, when they get involved in like indoor circuits, they like don't necessarily understand how the rules are created, and really the rules are created by the members like working together and coming up with proposals and making edits to rules that are going to like help the whole circuit. TCGC just had their meeting on Sunday. MCCGA, ours is June 24th, so it's coming up here, and I've heard of a couple others that are coming up in the next few weeks. So get out there, read proposals, make proposals, and like, I mean, really just learn how your circuit works, because we can't just sort of let the circuits die off with people who are wanting to retire or whatever, we really have to keep it going. And I kind of feel like at least my generation needs to step up and take charge. I feel like that's where I'm at right now with that.
Well, to piggyback off of that too, Jackie, if you go to the WGI website, they have this, and this came out weeks ago, also, but the way to make a proposal. And like, I hate to say this, but at the same time, like some of the stuff does get a little bit non-user friendly, but
Yeah.
like basically how to make proposals for people that don't really know. You know how you have those like books for dummies. I'm not saying that everybody's a dummy. However, this kind of, I was able to
There's a
understand
way
it.
to do it. There's a way to do it that's right and that's wrong. So
So, I mean, if anybody wants to, if you've already done your circuit meeting and you have ideas, you don't know, your idea could snowball off of someone else's idea and make a bigger idea. So
it's
present
true.
it.
It's true.
So.
Yeah, I like even myself personally, I made a proposal like 10 years ago. 10 years ago that didn't fly, and like, through much discussion with other people and like rewriting and thinking about it and learning what other circuits do and talking to different people within our circuit and seeing how things worked, like I was able to make another version of that proposal, and last year it passed. So it's like really you just have to keep working at it, and it, if it's something that's for the good of everybody, it's gonna pass through. Nicole, do you know on WGI? I hadn't even thought about this. I was just thinking about local circuits, but like on WGI, does every guard who participates in WGI get to have the opportunity to submit proposals and vote?
No, they don't.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I forget how much this goes, how that goes down. It's
Yeah.
not every group though.
I think anybody can submit a proposal, but I don't think everybody can vote. I think only those on the advisory board that go to the meeting in July in Vegas. I think those are the only ones that actually vote. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Gotcha. It makes sense. You don't need every single person to be casting their vote. That's for every single thing. There's a lot of things that like scholastic groups have issues that independent groups know nothing about. Independent groups have issues that scholastic groups, and then you look at like the top and bottom, like you look at your regionals and your cadet teams and stuff like that versus your like world class. Like there's going to be such a wide range of stuff there. So cool. Go participate. It's like participating in local government. Go participate in your local circuit. Learn how to do it on WGI.
Right, be the change you want to see.
Yes, be the change.
Speaking of participating, Carl had sent out an email saying that he wanted everybody to make sure they did the judges evaluation that was sent out. So if you went to any WGI event, you can do that, and they need feedback on the judges, because we always have a lot to say about the judges during the season, but now is our actual chance to be heard. So
I will say, please do it. Like, honestly, just like any color guard needs that, like, that commentary, like judges need it too. Like, well, I'm speaking for myself, but I feel like we all need it. Like,
and
so
all the judges need it. It's true.
Yeah.
You know what I need?
What?
Well, I just got a whole bunch of guard information. I feel like super energized and more knowledgeable about that. But one thing I need Steven to tell us what he's hyped about. What he's hyped about.
I literally have so much stuff I could talk about right now. You're gonna have to
You
stop me.
sound so excited, Steven.
Let's go.
I just yesterday got offered a spot as an alternate with the Eagles drumline. There were no bass drummers that left last year, so there were no spots available, but I'll be on as an alternate, and when a spot opens up someday, I should be able to be in there. But that's super exciting.
Eagles?
The Philadelphia Eagles, baby, go Birds.
Do you know the song? I hear there's a song associated with the football team. Do you know?
Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'm gonna subject you guys all to this song.
This is your audition, right? Just in case anybody from the Eagles drumline is listening. Steve and
I-
Jen.
Our listeners can't hear this right now, but Trevor was literally like flying like an eagle.
You
He
eagle
was,
in
Yeah.
the graphic right now during the intro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trevor's getting
Well,
ready to come up from Carolina and support, but that's gonna be fun. I can't wait for that.
that should be a good time. I hope you get a chance to go do it because that would just be amazing.
Yeah, no, there will definitely be weekends where I get to go play at games because if anyone in the baseline has a conflict, I'll be in there learning their parts and doing it. But also, like, they do like 50 gigs outside of game day throughout the season, and
Whoa.
you only have to do 30% of them, so 15 gigs roughly. But it's all like it's paid. It's a paid gig. You're still like going out in the community and performing. So I'm gonna be active on the Philadelphia Eagles baseline. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, with all of our hosts who are joining us today, we have a lot of stories to tell. But let's go ahead and get into the second half of our interview with Todd Marcocci. This is going to be amazing because he's talking about parades, and parades are like my favorite thing. So, here, Beth, you can take the Long Ranger.
Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
Hi everyone, I'm Lexi Duda, and I'm the new host of On a Water Break in Rhinestones. I was a competitive twirler both nationally and internationally for nearly 20 years. Then in college, I became a feature twirler for the University of Maryland. Go Terps! Along my twirling journey, I competed in many world championships individually and with my Wheaton family, earning multiple gold, silver, and bronze medals. Now I coach the next generation of twirlers as they develop a love and passion for a sport I hold close to my heart. Outside of baton twirling, I have a full-time job. I'm a news producer in Baltimore. My goal for this podcast is to bring you unique stories from baton twirlers from all over. I'm here to help tell their experiences from performing at the National Football Championships to the Miss America stage. Be sure to follow along to hear from talented twirlers who definitely have stories to tell.
Well, we are back on a water break this week, and guess who's back? We have Todd Marcocci from the president of Under the Sun Productions to talk about parades in the big picture and why would we do a parade and all that goes into it. So Todd, tell us, why do a parade? Why would somebody select or opt to do a parade to begin with?
Oh, it is, first off, to make any parade great, you need marching bands. And many universities, colleges, I blame them, teach their soon-to-be band directors that parades are not important. And I have been lecturing at summer camps for decades now to the high school students to at least make them understand. And anytime that I've ever done any director sessions, I have said it to them also. I have always looked at marching band's participation, much like I said in the other interview with getting the Westchester University and the Macy's Parade in 1986. I looked at that as a public relations tool. So therefore, let's say that a band director is listening right now. Well, he should be proud if the measures are taken to make them look great, proud of what they put on the street. Okay. Well, then even your little local parade, okay, is so important. I hate when I see marching bands wearing shorts and a t-shirt to march in a parade. Okay, band directors, listen to me. Your taxpayers paid for your band uniforms. They want to see the band uniforms on their bodies in a parade so they know that their taxpayer money was being used properly. Okay. The instruments that they paid for, the color guard equipment that they paid for, the lead banner that they paid for, the taxpayers want to see that. They also want to hear a marching band sound fabulous. They also want to see a marching band march in step. The number of marching bands that I have observed over the last 3 years that do not march in step anymore really shocks me. So that's from a local standpoint. So I don't care whether it's your little Halloween parade, little fireman's parade, whatever the case may be. You are visually and audibly representing your community. Some people are small communities, some people are big communities. So I encourage you highly to take parades seriously. And you're probably all laughing right now, but literally, you are presenting something very, very, very important into a parade. And, if I saw you, sloughing down the street and not looking good, I was like, oh, they're not very good. And that reflects directly back onto the town and to the school. Okay. So, Beth, you know that I, do a lot of the band selections for the professional parades that I get to produce. And
Absolutely.
It's kind of funny right now. Right now, we're in 2023. I have all but one band to go to select for the Cherry Blossom Parade. And literally, I have 7 applications sitting over here, all vying for that one spot. So it's so fun now to go to YouTube and start watching everyone's performances, and you start to chuck away at, okay, who can you trust better to present something great on a parade route? Okay. So, and especially too with Memorial Day coming up, a lot of high school bands, college bands, whatever, really do not wear their school uniforms for Memorial Day parades, which is very, very disrespectful. You have to remember what the holiday is about. It is not barbecue, beach, and hot dogs. It is about honoring the fallen, those who have given their lives for us to have our freedom in our country now. And the last thing that you could possibly do to at least honor them is to have the kids wear the uniforms for 37 minutes or 45 minutes in the heat, and then they take them off. That's that simple. Okay. And real fast, too, while we're talking about respect, I encourage band directors and color guard directors to please Google, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, but Google the United States flag code. Okay. There is a particular way that the American flag should be displayed in front of a marching band. I will say that you have to notice in the flag code that the flag needs to be guarded. So if you don't have somebody to guard the American flag, don't have the American flag. Okay, it's that simple. Put the American flag back in the closet and march without the flag. It's that simple. So you have to look at the respect and the United States flag code for that flag. One thing that killed me the other week, I was building some props and I could watch TV at the same time. So I watched YouTube and all these different parades from around the country on July 4th, and a top 6 drum corps was in a parade. The flag was guarded by 2 sabers, and the one saber person starts spinning and performing while guarding the American flag. No, I almost passed out. So I think there's a disconnect here from generations And I'm going to blame it to that right now. I'm not pointing fingers, and I'm a little fired up about this because I'm very passionate about it. But I think we do need to educationally remind people that the United States flag code does exist. And that red, white, and blue piece of sewn that I'm looking out in my yard right now is representing something. And, basically, I mean, Beth, I can tell you this internally. We just got a memo that was sent out by the Pentagon back in February, reminding all military members, all military units to review the flag code. So I think it is it was very interesting to see a letter from the Pentagon with all that written, but it is very interesting. And I think it, like I said, it's a generational thing to where these particular things in time are being forgotten and lost.
Which is sad, for those of us that are maybe a little older and more familiar with that code. But I remember I had a situation where I was the carrier of the flag, the American flag, and I was not guarded, and there was a thing. And it's burned, seared into my memory now that it will never happen again, and not on my watch. I wouldn't let it happen. So, yeah. So, Todd, I mean, obviously you're a bevy of bounty of knowledge on parades. What goes into, putting together a parade overall? Like what kind of things are you looking for, and how do you then get it to all come together?
Sure. I mean, there's two different kinds of parades. There's three different kinds. There's local parades that are literally, whoever shows up that day, you're just sent down the street in any order. Or the local parades that really crack me up are like they put all the musical groups at one point, so it's all music back to back. Then they put all the farm tractors in the next part. Then they put all the antique cars in the next part. If you're doing your hometown parade and you're listening, variety. My attention span is really short. And kind of like today, I was literally here working on the July 4th parade for Philly, and I kept changing my mind on the first 10 groups. How do I want this to look? And I kept going, change. Okay, no, put the Army band there. No, we'll do those three flags there. Yeah, well, yeah, that'll be kind of cool. So literally just visualizing that parade coming down the street. Kind of like the holiday parade in Philly. It's a nighttime parade. It's illuminated. What's the first thing I want to see? And what's the first thing I want to hear? So if you have the gift, I guess, and this goes to designing a band show too, or a color guard show. I mean, if you have the gift to be able to literally see it in your head, and then you just make it happen from there.
Well, you just make it happen. The rest of us would take a long time to do that, but you,
true.
There's, but I can appreciate that, and I think it'll be helpful for a lot of our listeners if they are part of either the planning for their local parade, because I'm sure a lot of hometown band directors maybe get at least invited or consulted in terms of that and participation. But that's good to know. But like, how do you then select the bands? Like, what kind of process, and how should a band maybe best prepare to audition, whether it's for a smaller parade or a national parade?
Yeah, let me elaborate on that part before that, and then I'll go into that. Really, I've taken the time to go to different local parades to see how long my attention span could last. And that's how I learn. Because if something, I'm like, where's the music? Where's the music? Why is there any music? Well, I make sure, like today, music was pink, non-music was blue. So I go music, nothing, nothing. Music, nothing, nothing. I want to be overwhelmed with entertainment and noise. So that's my best advice that I can give there. Now, for any band looking to take their band on the road, and everyone goes to Disney, which is great. I mean, that's great to take your trip to Disney. However, there are many parades around the country, besides the ones that I produce and co-produce, that you can look into. There's a website called marching.com. And if you go to Ken Martison's site, marching.com, hit the events link. And the events link will take you to a slew, a slew of different parades around the country. You'll find a number of ours on there. And that's really where you can apply to take your show on the road. And it's so encouraged. I'm sure band directors like, well, we don't have the money. Well, you raise the money. You make people work for it. You have parent organizations. Just don't settle for what you're doing right now. Now that the pandemic is legally over as of May 11th, now's the time to start, putting the rocket booster upwards rather than sitting in the garage with a bunch of dust on it. So think about, you work so hard, your kids work so hard, your program, everything that you have uniforms, all this stuff goes into this. Take it on the road. I mean, take it literally. Take a chance. Take a chance. I will tell this story, and I don't want to tell you, but I want to tell you because it's the biggest mistake. Well, it's not a mistake, but it was just something that happened. We all know how great Avon High School is, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. I remember back in the mid-'90s, Avon High School applied for the Thanksgiving Day Parade in Philadelphia. At that time, the band director, and I don't know if it's the same one now, was starting to try and build the program. And because they only had 50 students, I rejected them. And now think about where that program is. I literally remember getting that application and just going, well, I can't even, because usually we have, right now, because of coming out of COVID, we don't necessarily have minimums, but usually we try to do 100 and above because most of the parades we do are televised and, larger ensembles look better on, I shouldn't say better, but better on TV. Go to marching.com, look for different parades and literally take a shot at it and apply. Take a shot. And it was kind of cool. I just had a band apply for Cherry Blossom like 2 months ago or a month ago. And I ended up looking up their videos and their winter guard. Well, their winter guard just placed third at WGI's in Scholastic A. And I was like, oh my God, I can use them in the opening production number. Okay. So they're in the opening production number for next year. Another one that I just selected the other day, they had an awesome dance team. I was like, I can use them in the opening too. So selected them. They're now going to be in the opening. So, the opportunities are out there. You just have to take a risk. And I will tell you, I have literally over these decades accepted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bands. And you just never know what we're looking for or possibly not looking for, and we get surprised. Take a chance.
As a travel planner, I thoroughly endorse Todd's idea of take a chance and take your show on the road. It is one of the best gifts you can give to your students in your program because like Todd mentioned, you're doing all this work, you're putting all this time and effort in. Why hide your light under a bushel? Like shine it and let the world see what your kids have been working on. The reward they get is extraordinary when you do it and you take them out and they hear crowds in a different town cheering for them. So it's not just mom and dad in the stands at your home game. It's other people, and I think it helps students to realize that they're part of an activity that's way bigger than just what's happening in their town, that there's other bands and other groups doing exactly what they're doing all over literally the world. And what a great gift to give them. So now that I'll get off my travel horse, what about some things maybe you shouldn't do if you're applying to a parade? Is there something you should try to avoid in the audition process, or should you have a YouTube channel? Should you not? What works best, do you think?
That's a good one. Yeah, you should avoid sending a video that shows most of your band out of step. You should also avoid sending a video where your horns are not in tune. You should also avoid sending a video that your color guard is up front and not one flag is spinning together. So those would be the first three things. And another one too, a fourth one would be, please don't send a video where your flags are in literally 2 lines and trying to take up as much space as possible. Because if you would, I mean, this is being serious right now too, if you would get accepted to a televised parade, the more you elongate the camera, if it's a televised parade, the cameras are going to skip over the first part and grab the last part, because then it's just the instrumentalist, because that moves out and then the camera will pick up the next thing. So why elongate when you can encapsulate and make this a very pretty artistic presentation through what you do? Yeah, do you always have to march forward? No. Turn around for your last 4 counts. Play to the other side. Oh, people scream. Oh, my God. Something different. Integrate your color guard. Even do a slightly little formation change. I mean, imagine this. People would go nuts. You're marching down the street. Band goes like this. Band comes back together. It's something different. So I told you what to avoid in terms of sending in, but for Thanksgiving especially, and I don't have a copy to show you right now, I encourage creativity. Encourage it. I think outside the box. I do not want to see the same rectangle marching band coming down with the pom-poms in the front and the flags in the back. Boring, boring, boring. Okay? Literally, creativity is needed in parades. It's desired. It's wanted. Because, and it's so true. I mean, I have worked with television producers for years now. And I think the biggest thing that hit me the most, and I didn't understand it at first. I got really defensive, and then it hit me. A band is a band is a band is a band, move on. And I took so much offense to that. And then I started thinking, you know what? They're right. If somebody playing music in a rectangle with flags in the back, okay, let's see the next one. Oh, they have purple ones. They have purple uniforms. They have blue uniforms. Who cares? So, from an entertainment standpoint, think about what you can do in your presentation that's going to make you stick out, and especially when you're applying for something. If you're able to iterate that through descriptions or whatever, we would like to do XYZ PDQ. I mean, if somebody put that on their application and going, we'd like to have gift boxes rolling down the street, outlining both sides of the band. And then at one point we shoot confetti out of them. And then check, you're in. Okay. Yeah, it's that simple. Okay. It's that simple. Or it can be difficult when you do get applications to where you have to watch people out of step and listening to not very good music.
So the takeaways definitely are: focus on your fundamentals, marching in step, playing in tune, spinning in time, which are just the fundamentals we should all be working on as a marching unit. Yeah. Throw in some creativity. Don't be afraid to mix it up a little bit. Don't, like you said, a rectangle is a rectangle, a band is a band. Try to avoid that. I think those are all really good tips. We did when I was in high school, we did that turnaround for 4 counts and march backwards in the Orange Bowl parade. You're right. The crowd loves it. And we were like, well, this is easy. We don't do this all the time. And it was 4 steps. We marched backwards for 16 counts, I think, and then turned back around and kept going. Mm-hmm. And yet it was a huge impact moment. Mm-hmm. Way to go, Brent Lewis. Who knew? Anyway.
Yeah, it's funny though, Beth, that you say that variety captures people. And especially, I have to point this out, after this whole pandemic thing, to get people to clap, and I've noticed this, to get even for people to stand, like as a spectator, to stand when the American flag goes by, and you're usually supposed to salute it when it marches by, but nobody does anything. People are afraid to clap. So like any parade that I've gone to just to watch, I'm the first one. And then I try to encourage people, because obviously I know what groups go through to put themselves in a parade. So, I think it's going to just take, obviously the pandemic has caused a lot of issues, but hopefully now people will start to appreciate what they see out in the parade world more.
Well, this has been remarkable, and I think we could talk for I don't know, a couple more days about this, but we decided on a water break we wanted to give Todd some quick fire questions about parades. So we've got 10 quick fires. And we're not going to time him because that's just cruel and unusual punishment. But we're gonna throw these questions at him and see what his answers are, and I think you'll all appreciate this. So Todd, what is the longest parade you've produced in terms of mileage?
That was mileage. Mileage. That would.
Well, like the Orange Bowl parade's like 5 miles long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the longest parade I ever produced was the Hershey Centennial Parade back in 2003. That route was not super long, but there were so many groups in it. It went on forever. It was 168 different groups, I think, and literally groups from all over the country, over the country. In Hershey, 39 marching bands, I think, alone. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we'll go to the opposite. What's the shortest parade you've produced?
The shortest one, it could be the one in the backyard that I talked about, or this is a good one, or it could be this parade that we did for Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. It was called the Camaro Parade. I think that's what it was. And lo and behold, it was promoting this car giveaway. So I know how to line up a parade on Atlantic City Boardwalk and all the permits and all that kind of stuff you have to do. Not knowing that the parade was actually going to be starting out on the Atlantic City Expressway in the rest stop. And it was literally only 10 cars. And then the drone flew over the cars going down the expressway. And then the cars went up to the boardwalk. We held them, and then we started the parade on the boardwalk. It was literally 10 cars and a lead banner, I think. So that would go down there as a short one, too.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. What it would be the largest group you've had in a parade?
I'm probably going to say the largest one was Penn State University Marching Band in that Hershey Centennial Parade, because I think at that time they were over 400. And then the second to that would be Westchester University and comparable Golden Rams Marching Band.
Wow. That's pretty big for those of you not paying attention at home, to have Penn State and Westchester in the same breath with regard to size of their band. That's nothing to sneeze at. Yeah. So since a lot of parades happen in the warm weather, what's the hottest parade?
Oh, good God. I think it was July 4th, 1999 or 2000, and Jeremy from guardcloset.com. I know he would know. He was there with me. I think that was the first time I think I ever blacked out for a moment. It was over 100+ degrees that day. I remember. Oh my Lord! The Boy Scouts parade. My God, I forgot about that in DC. Yeah, that's when then the thunderstorms came in and blew all the tents up and everything after the parade, 10 minutes after it ended. Yeah.
Well, of course, because that would have cooled everything off. But
but that one though, real fast, Beth. Let me tell you that story real fast. So at that time, that's when cell phones just started, and one of the staff members, Leah, I think, said, "Todd, there's something on radar." I said, "Radar what? Where do you see radar?" "On my phone." I said, "It's on your phone, really?" And she said, "Look at these thunderstorms that are up in Erie. It was gorgeous in DC. So it's funny, Karen Rogers, the meteorologist at Channel 6, taught me how to take your fingers and then follow the wind direction to just project where it's going to happen. And I did that on her weather app. And I called the police. I said, we need to start this parade in 15 minutes. We need to step off 15 minutes early. Okay? So we started 15 minutes early, got the parade down. The skies opened up 15 minutes after the parade was over. Tents literally flying everywhere. Hail. It was torrential downpours, the whole thing. So that's a good one, Jeremy, that you brought that up about the Boy Scouts. But that talk about decision making, that was a decision that I had to make as the producer, and make that guess by something that Karen Rogers at Channel 6 taught me, and put all those skills together immediately.
That's insane. And for those listeners, Channel 6 is the local ABC affiliate in Philadelphia, and Karen Rogers is we all love her. So that was a no-brainer. So I just wanted to throw that out there. What's the coldest parade?
Oh Lord, that was last year in Chicago. That's an easy one. It was 11. It was 11 degrees, I think, and that was not the wind chill. The wind chill was below that. I just remember it was in the negative 17, I think it was. And of course, at that parade, I walked the parade down into the first pre-parade, and then we hold it there, and then we step it off from Oaken, Michigan, which I could walk over and touch the water of Lake Michigan. Oh, yes, definitely. 2022, Magnificent Mile Lights Festival Parade, coldest ever.
So recent. December was cold. I was in Chicago in December. It was cold. What is the group that you know that has traveled the farthest for a parade that you've been a part of?
There's three. I can say Tamagawa University drummers and dancers from Japan. They're in the Cherry Blossom Parade. Another one was back in the 90s. The Polish Youth Dance Ensemble came from Poland, and that was in the Thanksgiving Day Parade in Philly. And then there are the Hawaii Pal Riders that came from Hawaii for Thanksgiving. They usually appear in the Rose Parade or have appeared. And then also Banda Escolar de Guayania from Puerto Rico.
And that was out of Puerto Rico? Right. Cool. So what about the most famous person you've been able to encounter at a parade?
There's a lot. Probably the funniest one real fast was Vice President Joe Biden at the time. He led one of the July 4th parades in Philly, and he literally was helping me start the parade off and telling the Girl Scouts that they were not carrying the banner flat and straight. And I was like, thank you very much. They weren't listening to me. I hope they listen to you. So that was probably one of the funniest ones. The other one was Pink. And I had Pink in the Thanksgiving Day Parade in Philly. And I remember saying to her, walked up to the float. I said, Pink, I said, my name's Todd Marcocci. I said, I just wanted to produce the parade. I just want to thank you for having such a fabulous rhythmical structure to your music. She literally jumped off the float, came down, hugged and kissed me for saying that somebody recognized, the complexity of what she was doing musically. And then for like other generations that would understand, Willard Scott, meeting him was just like the biggest, like all-time favorite thing. Kelly Ripa down on the street when one of the Westchester University flag performers got hit in the head with her own pole. Kelly Ripa's there with the ice bag on, I forget I think it was Sarah, her head, doing that. And I mean, the list goes on. Cameron Matheson, the Village People were definitely a highlight. What's that other boy's name? The blonde-haired NSYNC guy.
Justin
Timberlake. No, Lane. Yeah. I mean, the list goes on.
I don't know. I'm still working on Pink because she's local too. She's local to Philly, so she's I want to be here when I grow up. Okay. What is the first parade you produced and when? And I'll let you decide which answer you want to give.
The first parade? Well, I would say that was the backyard parade. Yeah.
And for those of you that didn't listen to last week's episode, tune into last week's episode and you will enjoy a very awesome backstory to that parade.
Yeah.
And now the piece de resistance. What is one parade you would want to produce, but you haven't? And I'm going to say yet, because you're not done. So I just want to know.
No, I mean this. So if you listen to the first session of this, I had mentioned about having the big parade at my grandparents' farm in New Enterprise, Pennsylvania, back in 1976 for the bicentennial when the country was 200 years old. Well, about 10 years ago, it hit me. I was like, wait, I think I'll still be alive for the 250th birthday of the country. And I was like, oh my God, could I really? Maybe? really, maybe? And so I just kind of kept it in my mind. And about 3 years ago, I guess, I had the first meeting about the Philadelphia, July 4th parade being the 250th. So we've already been working on that for over a year. We already have Georgia, Maine, Idaho, Washington, D.C. represented so far. So the goal is to get a marching band from every single state, and then also a special unit or something maybe from every single state. And while I know times are different. We're not going to be able to do what they did back in 1976 in Philadelphia from a parade standpoint, but we'll do the 2026 version of that. But still, at least at this point, it's something I haven't produced yet, but we're actually producing it right now. But to make it all happen live on that day, it has certainly been something that really kind of connects the beginning of this whole interview to the very, very end. And thinking that it's 50 years at that point, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I hate to say I was around for 76, and to think that we'll both be around for the 250th is crazy.
Yeah.
And Todd, I think that's just what a great full circle moment that would be for you. I mean, that's so heartwarming. And I think anybody listening, if you don't have goosebumps, then I don't know, you probably maybe a little dead inside. But I think that this is what a great way to end our conversation, Todd. And I'm so grateful for you taking the time to talk to us on a water break, and that we can share all these great stories. And we all know you're not finished yet. So,
and I do want to point out though that we also produced the July 4th in DC, so we could be probably. I'm going to guess. Okay, we're going to make our own little history here. That we'll be probably the first company in history to ever produce two 250th birthday parades at the same time. As long as, I don't want to jinx anything. We're in 2023 right now, but that's the goal, to try and accomplish that in 2026.
Okay, so everybody heard it here on a Water Break podcast. This is where you heard it, so just remember that. Todd, if anybody wanted to find out more about Under the Sun or about you and parades in general, other than marching.com, which I'm telling everybody, please check out that site. It is a great resource for me as a tour operator when I'm looking for events for groups to attend, but also for directors. How can they go about finding you or reaching out to Under the Sun?
Look on Facebook. We did have a web page at one time, got rid of it, started another one, got rid of that. I just do Facebook. So look at Facebook. Under the Sun Productions Inc. Is the name. And then you can also look me up on Facebook, which is Todd, Todd, Marcocci, Marcocci.
Fantastic. This has been a real joy to get to hear these stories. Some of them I've heard, some are fresh, and I'm so glad for our listeners that they get to hear this too. So, well, guys, I think it's time for us to get back to rehearsal, and we'll see you on the next water break.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, it's Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts, the host of the Marching Roundtable podcast and the creator of MarchingArtsEducation.com. I've just taken a little water break here, and I thought I would share some information about what's going on at the Marching Roundtable. But first, I want to say, wow, congratulations to everybody for the incredible, great, successful work and season we just had in the indoor activity this winter. Wow, all the stuff that happened in Dayton was really inspiring and exciting. It was great to see your passion on display. Thank you for all your hard work, whether you're a designer, a director, instructor, performer, parent, support person. All these people make the activity happen, and wow, are you impressive. Now, here's my thought for you today. Make sure you take some time to rest. That's right. Right now, people are jumping right back into auditions for the fall or getting ready for drum corps. The cycle just keeps on going. But I want to tell you, make sure you're taking some time at the end of this momentous season to rest, to reflect, take long weekends, take evenings off. If you're like me, sometimes I just have to schedule that on my calendar. I'm not going to work on this night. I'm going to take some time and do something, hopefully I'd like to say, that doesn't have anything to do with the marching arts activity. Just enjoy some time off, rest, take care of yourself, because we'll very soon be jumping right back in You need to be rested, healthy, mentally ready for everything that's about to happen. So take some time. I promise you'll be glad you did. This week at the Marching Roundtable podcast, we have another in our series called 3 Things I Wish I'd Known When I First Started Teaching. This is Gene Montarastelli, who's a very important visual judge in the earlier years of Drum Corps International, now is working with drum majors in a very significant way at DCI. You'll love hearing about things he wished he had known when he first started teaching way back when with the Troopers. And also, next week's podcast is focusing on education and a competitively driven activity. This is 2 really smart folks from Southwind Drum and Bugle Corps talking about how they have a successful season with their students, focusing on education and helping those students grow, while, of course, being in the middle of competitive activity and wanting to do very, very well. And don't forget, there was a recent podcast with the crew from On a Water Break that I think you'll really enjoy. And one more thing, watch for a webinar coming up on May 24th with Ron Vereen talking about grant writing for not-for-profit arts groups. Jeremy, thanks for including me. This is Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Todd, for coming. Again, you can find him on Facebook with his company, Under the Sun Productions. So, of course, Todd talked a lot about parades, and that's what we're talking about today. But Whitney was just telling me before the show that she has encountered some super crazy weather while marching a parade. You want to tell that story?
Yeah, so Crown always does the Bristol, Rhode Island parade, and we were at that parade in 2004. This is my second year, and it rained the entire time. And of course, we still did the parade because it's Boston and those people are crazy. They did not care. It was still like crazy amounts of people everywhere. And it just got to the point where it was just really hard to spin. And I was on the flag line. And so the silk is just sticking to my body. We're all miserable. Our shoes are soggy. I start crying because I'm just so over it. And I'm like crying and doing drop spins because it was awful. Like by mile 4, I was like, I don't want to anymore. I don't want to do this. This is horrible. So we finally finished. We were miserable the whole time. We finally got back on the bus. There was no bathrooms anywhere. We were just soggy and soaking wet. It was a time to be alive. That is for sure.
Don't you just love that for drum corps? Oh, rain on me.
Spinning in the rain.
We've done that. I mean, when my age out year, I was with Patriots. Oof. It's coming, y'all. If you don't know what it feels like to get old, just pay attention to me. It's happening. But there was one parade we went through, and, like Whitney said, like, we don't stop. We don't not do the parade. So we did them. But I can just remember being like, just wet, soaked through, wet, cold, and just giggling. And it's just like, we're about to get onto an air-conditioned bus where if you thought you were cold, you're about to get a lot colder. And not to mention, like, we've all been in the gym where it smells like, old cheese. And those shoes on your bus, same deal.
My feet smell. My feet always smell wonderful, dry or wet, so we're good.
Trevor.
You're gonna have to show me your ways.
What are your secrets, Trevor? I can't.
It just came with marching with the Troopers, and it was the cowboy hat that helped. I guess I don't know.
Oh, did you ever have to march in like crazy weather?
In Wyoming, yeah, it was always windy during our parades, like in Casper or like Laramie or something. And we didn't really have a way to hold down our cowboy hats. Like they just used to buy them and say, "Hey, make it work." They're the Troopers, and a gust of wind would come and you would hold on to your hats, boys and girls, or it may end up in the audience. So it was always fun times marching parades in Casper, Wyoming, with the Troopers.
Back when either, I guess, Jackie or Whitney, when you guys were at Crown, Were you guys at Gardner Webb for spring training at that time?
I was never at Crown. I'm just gonna throw that out there because
Wait,
I did not
what?
watch Crown. I'm a Blue Star, honey.
What? I could have swore that. What? Okay, I'm really confused now.
No, Whitney and I are
I
just
don't know what
besties. That's all.
conversation I had back in the early days of me joining the large group chat, but I clearly got some strings crossed. But Whitney, were you ever at Gardner Webb?
My first year was not my first year. The first year we were at Gardner Webb was 2007. That was my age out. And we were
Okay.
only there for 2 weeks. So after those 2 weeks, we went to a high school that was like on the beach. And then we went to another school in like the middle of North Carolina. So
Whoa.
we had 3 parts of spring training that year. It was crazy.
That's actually so intense. I would hate that. I would hate
Yeah.
having to move spring training 3 times.
Yeah.
But when I was there at Gardner Webb, we were doing like base subs around this like clock tower. Basically, it was like just a regular metal clock, but it was kind of big and nice, like you might have in the middle of like campus on a college campus. And it started to look a little rainy, a little like the skies weren't great. So we went inside the closest building, like 15 feet away or so, and we just start doing subs like right behind the glass door and glass windows right there. And like maybe 2 minutes after we went inside, the clock tower got struck by lightning, and it was like the most
Whoa.
loud, like explosive, like explosion that I've heard in my life. Just like
Wow.
boom.
You
And like
almost
it didn't
died.
even like it didn't even start raining yet. We just looked at the clouds and we were like, that's not trustworthy. We should probably go inside.
Wow.
And sure
Good
enough,
call.
Sure
Jeez.
enough. I'm glad
Thank
you
that
did.
goodness. Oh my gosh.
one of the closest calls I've had, I
We
guess.
can imagine on the water without you. So I'm glad that you went inside.
Me too.
Trust me, I'm also glad that I went inside.
Oh, so
Um,
when I was at Blue Stars, when I
I
marched
won't.
Blue
Yeah,
Stars, which is
sounds
where I
right.
marched, we had a crazy one in Nebraska. We were at a University of Nebraska, and literally we were the first corps to perform because it was 06. It was Blue Stars' first time going back to world class. We were like the first corps to perform, and we got out there. We got all set up. And our drum major like gave us the count off and everything, and we hit like the first, I don't know, maybe 2 or 4 notes of the whole show. They were just bells, and he cut us off, and his face was, I don't even know how to describe it so that people who are listening can understand what his face looked like. This kid, I swear to you, he was one of the calmest people I've ever met in my life. His face was the opposite of calm. I had never seen him look like that. And we were just like, this is what on earth? This is crazy. And we knew rain was in the forecast, but I kid you not, he cut us off and then was just like frozen for a second. And then he told us to grab our stuff and go. He just kind of was like, grab and go, grab and go. And we were like, we're about to start the show. Why are we grabbing and going? And so we turn around and look, and there's this giant wall cloud with a tornado behind the stadium. And we were like, oh, well, Nebraska's flat. You can see for miles. So it's not like the tornado was on top of us, but still, like, we could see it. So it was like, get out. So we grabbed our stuff and we went underneath those like concrete bleachers, and we were drenched. I don't think I've ever been that wet in my life. And I have been to Niagara Falls, and we were drenched. I mean, all like the marching uniforms, which back then were like wool or whatever, like the marching uniforms were drenched all the way through. It was like so crazy.
Come on, Jackie. Y'all could have got one more rep in.
I know. It was the show. Like we could have, here we are out in our, our uniforms with everything set up, and it's like we could have done our show at least before the tornado hit. Like it did start pouring as we were like taking our stuff underneath the bleachers, but that was wild.
Yeah, no, sounds it. Do you guys remember a couple years ago when Allentown, the lot got like totally flooded out? Did you guys see any of those pictures? It might have been like 2018 or 2019. There's like huge lakes where they do the DCI East Regional each year. And in the lot where all the groups warm up. And then they had like a massive storm the night before the first day of the competition. So then when they would go out to the lot, like it was all entirely flooded out, like mud everywhere. Couldn't actually like get to the lot, kind of, because
Oh my
it was
God.
literally flooded. But there's nowhere else to go, and DCI East is a unstoppable train. So
Oh yeah.
It's true. Oh, I hated those like shows where you had to march in like mud up to your knees.
sounds like South Carolina,
Georgia.
Florida, Georgia,
Yes.
swamp tour.
Oh, please don't. That's for another podcast.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll miss the swamp tour episode. I don't need to reminisce on that.
Ooh. Well, let's do this. If you don't follow Drum Corps Today on Instagram yet, you definitely should, because they are keeping us all up to date with everything that's going on in Drum Corps. So take it away, Jeremy.
Hey everyone, Drum Corps Today with another Drum Corps news segment. First up, we have rehearsal camps that are coming up. This weekend there are 14 weekend camps and 8 corps are moving into spring training. Out west, Impulse has a camp on Saturday, May 27th. Battalion has a camp in Heber City, Utah from Friday, May 26th to Saturday, May 27th. Blue Devils B has a camp in Concord, California from Saturday, May 27th to Monday, May 29th. Columbians have a camp in Hermiston, Oregon, Friday, May 26th to Monday, May 29th. Gold has a camp in Eastvale, California from Saturday, May 27th to Monday, May 29th. Golden Empire has a camp in Bakersfield, California from Friday, May 26th to Sunday, May 28th. Has a camp in San Dimas, California from Saturday, May 27th to Monday, May 29th. Pacific Crest has a camp in Las Flores, California, Saturday, May 27th to Monday, May 29th. Seattle Cascades have a camp in Scappoose, Oregon from Saturday, May 27th to Monday, May 29th. Down south, Guardians have a camp in LaGrange, Texas from Saturday, May 27th to Monday, May 29th. And Heatwave has a camp in Interlachen, Florida from Saturday, May 27th to Monday, May 29th. In the Midwest, River City Rhythm has a camp in Waseca, Minnesota from Friday, May 26th to Sunday, May 28th. Out east, Spartans have a camp in Nashua, New Hampshire from Friday, May 26th to Sunday, May 28th. And Jersey Surf had a camp in Delran, New Jersey from Friday, May 26th to Monday, May 29th. Spring training continues getting started for several corps this week. On Friday, May 26th, the Blue Devils start their spring training at the University of Wyoming. The Blue Knights start their spring training in Denver, Colorado. The Blue Stars start their spring training at Waldorf University. The Cavaliers start their spring training at Adrian College. And Colts start their spring training at Western Illinois University. On Saturday, May 27th, Genesis starts their spring training at Caldwell High School. Spirit of Atlanta starts their spring training at Jacksonville State University. And the Troopers start their spring training at Tipton High School. This weekend there are 9 weekend camps and 6 corps are moving in for spring training. Out west, Impulse has a camp on Monday, May 29th. Gold is a camp in Eastvale, California from Saturday, June 3rd to Sunday, June 4th. Vessel is a camp in San Dimas, California from Saturday, June 3rd to Sunday, June 4th. And Pacific Crest has a camp in Diamond Bar, California from Saturday, June 3rd to Sunday, June 4th. Down south, Impact has a camp in Orlando, Florida on Sunday, June 4th. In the Midwest, Northern Lights have a camp in Muskegon, Michigan on Saturday, June 3rd. Out east, 7th Regiment has a camp in Oakdale, Connecticut from Saturday, June 3rd to Sunday, June 4th. The Stentors have a camp in Sherbrooke, Quebec, Canada from Saturday, June 3rd to Sunday, June 4th. Spartans has a camp in Nashua, New Hampshire from Friday, June 2nd to Saturday, June 3rd. A few more camps start their spring training next week, too. On Tuesday, May 30th, Crossmen start their spring training at Northeastern State University. On Wednesday, May 31st, Mandarin starts their spring training in Sacramento, California. On Thursday, June 1st, Madison Scouts start their spring training. On Friday, June 2nd, the Academy starts their spring training at Betty H. Fairfax High School. On Saturday, June 3rd, Music City starts their spring training, and the Colts migrate over to Muscatine, Iowa for their week of spring training before returning to Western Illinois University. This past week, there have been 3 more corps to announce their 2023 productions. Madison Scouts will cultivate a blooming garden of sound with their production, The Sound Garden. The Colts will be celebrating their 60th anniversary with their production, Where the Heart Is. And Carolina Crown will be going for gold with their production, The Round Table, Echoes of Camelot. With Carolina Crown announcing their 2023 production, that brings us to 3 of the top 4 corps that are going for the gold medal this season to announce. It'll be interesting to see how this season plays out with all the exciting show announcements that have already been released. Last season, the Blue Devils were the core to beat, between being undefeated last season as well as being lined up for their first three-peat, something only two cores have been able to achieve. Although they outscored every other core last season, their biggest points of weakness were percussion and color guard, where throughout the season those captions were contested between them and the Bluecoats and the Boston Crusaders, respectively. Plus, with Carolina Crown consistently having one of the best color guard sections and the best brass section, and the fact that Boston Crusaders and Bluecoats tied for second last year, it's going to be an intense fight for a medal this season and even more intense fight for the Founders Trophy. Even though a handful of cores have already moved in, there are still 372 brass spots, 81 field percussion spots, 82 front ensemble spots, 403 color guard spots, 6 conductor spots, and 70 additional spots, ranging from team time to administrative intern positions, which in total comes out to just over 1,000 open spots left this summer. All of this information can be found on our Instagram page, at Drumcore Today, and links to everything can be found at the link in our bio or at our linktree/Drumcore Today. And stay tuned for more Drumcore news.
Time to get our history lesson for this episode. Each week, the Marching Pageantry Arts Museum folks are going to give us a little bit of history. That way we can know what came before us. Check out this week's story.
So, I think because you got to remember part of the Vietnam era. I mean, I was in during the Vietnam era. A lot of people didn't like that we were at war. It became more, unlike World War II, when it was more obvious and bigger. The Vietnam thing was different. It was kind of, actually was a blow-up of the Korean conflict. A lot of these people coming up through that era or started teaching and came through those years. So the anti-Americana, God bless America, Stars and Stripes Forever era started happening. It started disappearing. Because you look at the early DCI stuff, you had some still did a color pre because some still had some legions and VFWs and churches putting money into it. So they had to keep them happy also. They had to keep some of that. So, but little by little, it branched away. It got pulled away from that.
It was like kind of the literal rebellion against Americana.
To an extent, yes.
That sort of changed kind of the...
I mean, a lot of people don't want to think about it that way, but again, I was younger and was involved in it, and I had to also start writing, and actually some of the groups, when I was out in Illinois, some of the groups, the one group I wrote for in particular, we changed, but we kept a lot of it local. We had to keep some of the Americana type stuff because they were sponsored. VFWs putting up some money and helping to keep things alive and running. So you had to do it. Most of the judges didn't care. I was okay with them.
To learn more about the Marching Pageantry Arts Museum, go to marchingpageantryartsmuseum.org and follow us on social media.
Thanks, Bill. And stay tuned for the History of Drum Corps podcast that I've been working on with the folks over at the museum. I know you guys are going to love this once it's out. Keep an eye out for it.
Hi, everyone. This is Ashlee with some twirling news for this week. This week, the North Carolina State University Band, which is also known as the Power Sound of the South, they took an international trip to England, where the band is going to be playing in front of the Cardiff Castle in Wales, and their wind ensemble is also playing there too. But the Twirlers decided to take a detour and stopped at a Beyoncé concert while they were in England. So that's pretty cool. There's also a twirling camp that is taking place in Altoona, Pennsylvania from June 22nd to June 25th. It's called Twirl Camp Pinnacle, and it's a 4-day clinic with a lot of world champion hosts and clinicians like Dale White, who is also a WGI judge, Savannah Miller, who's a recent USTA Women's Senior Gold Medalist, Jonathan and PJ Birkin, twirling's power couple, Bauer Sarah, former Arizona State University twirler and world champion, and a lot more. We also have Cody Carter, who was a special guest 2 episodes ago, who graduated from Arizona State University with a degree in Digital Culture Theater Technology. And if you haven't seen his senior thesis video, you better go check it out because it was really cool. The baton had sensors on each end of the baton that controlled the lights and the music, which matched whatever movement that he was doing. So if it was slow, the music was slow and the lights were very dim, but if he started speeding up the revolution, it got a lot faster and the music was bouncing all over the place. So I think it's really unique and really cool that he can demonstrate his arts in his studies at school. And congratulations for graduating, Cody. And we'll see you next week on A Water Break.
Okay, let us get to some news because we have some pretty exciting stuff. I feel like we have a lot of continuation stories this week, and yeah, there's some really positive stuff going on. Trevor, why don't you start us off?
Hey guys, some really great news out of the Homewood Flossmoor Chronicle. There's a transition happening at Marion Catholic High School. They're going to welcome a new director of bands. Um, Retiring director of bands Greg Bim is welcoming new director of bands Stephen Pieter as a new director of bands at Marion Catholic. Everyone knows Greg and his contributions to music education to bands. His bands have performed at state competitions, many CBDNA conventions, big hosting of events. His winter guards have always been awesome, especially for a smaller band in our profession. So that announcement happened on Friday, May the 19th. So the new directors, Stephen Prater, began his teaching career in 2007 and has taught a variety of instrumental, vocal, and general music classes at the high school level. Most recently, he taught music and was a choral director and assistant band director at Juliet Township School District 204 since 2016. Stephen holds a Bachelor of Music in Performance from Northern Illinois University and a Master of Music Education with teacher certification from Vandercook College of Music. Stephen, according to Greg, Stephen is the perfect choice for the next chapter in the Marian Catholic band legacy. Stevens is very excited to join the Marian Catholic Band family. As a new director, he hopes to offer a strong community, instilling the pride and belonging into the organization, creating life changing opportunities, following in the footsteps of Greg and his great leadership with the program. It's a changing of the guard, and congratulations to Greg Bim for amazing career in the profession, and absolutely congratulations to Stephen for taking the reins over at that amazing program at Marian Catholic. So congratulations to both of those gentlemen.
Yeah, man. Oh my goodness. He's what a legacy he is actually I guess you can say inheriting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
for sure.
Like sky's the limit now. You've got, you know what I mean, new blood. I mean, what old house new blood, old family new blood. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like it's gonna be pretty good.
We had talked about this a few weeks ago on the podcast. How long had Greg been the band director at Marian Catholic?
Something absurd.
It's decades, definitely.
Yeah, like decades. And like just being able to be in a program for that long and like build such a legacy is incredible. And for somebody to be able to like that, those are big shoes to fill. But honestly, listening to his resume, it sounds like the new band director is going to be able to do some stuff with this. So
Also, he's not going to be the guy who's stepping down, and I'm sorry I keep saying the guy, this guy, but the band director who has been there is not completely stepping away from Marian Catholic. He is just not the band director anymore. Am I wrong when I say that? I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like he's still going to be there in some capacity, just not on an everyday,
that would
day
be
to
so
day.
helpful, just having like a mentor there to sort of guide the new director.
Yeah, that would be helpful. I mean, honestly, in a perfect world, we would love to have that happen anytime there's going to be a changing of directors. Yeah, especially if you've been there for like over 10 years. Like this is not something you can just here's my keys. Bye.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah, I think Greg recognizes that transition is necessary for the success of Stephen and his and Greg's former students. He wants to make sure that the program and Stephen are set up for success. That's who Greg is. That's who he is at his core. He cares about everyone who he comes in contact with. So that's not surprising that Greg is going to be around and provide a resource, be a resource for that program and for Stephen. So that's really, really great to hear.
Well, y'all, I know
I'm so
that.
excited about this story.
Well, I can say that, yes. All right. We have caught the Northwest Las Vegas band trailer stealing person. I can't. Yes, that deserves a round of applause. So, I talked about this last week. So, a school, the Shadow Ridge Marching Band, Marching Thunder, I think it's what they're called. They had their trailer stolen, and what happened was I guess it was the band director. There was somebody on Craigslist had answered a listing for a trailer. It was a stolen trailer. So the people from Craigslist called the band director. The band director showed up and he called law enforcement. So they don't know if anything has been, they don't know if any arrests have been made. However, the instruments, the props, and the costumes were not inside the trailer anymore. So they don't know what happened to those, if they got rid of them, hawk them, or whatever. But they have gotten it back. Nicole Hubble, the band mom that I was talking about, said that there was somebody had put on Thursday, somebody had put a similar looking trailer to be sold on Craigslist. So that's kind of how they found this out. Like they were super sleuthing. Okay.
Nice.
So they had the mystery machine ready to go, and they said, we're going to find this. Because remember, at the end of the other article I read about this, when it first was stolen, it was like, ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough to keep us from, finding our band trailer. She meant it. She really meant it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. That's like, we needed some positive news in the band trailer stealing world.
Now, don't come back with more stolen trailer news. I don't want to do it. Stop stealing trailers.
This is not a trend. This is not. We don't want this to happen. We want you to donate to programs, your time, your energy, your funding to make sure that these programs are thriving. We don't want people to take from the children. Give to the children, please.
This program is small too, and they raised $30,000 to buy this trailer. And what they did was they did it through they sold fireworks, sold fireworks, and so they made $38,000 off of doing that. But it's just like they don't want to do that again. They want to raise $30,000 to get other things for their program now.
Well, apparently now uniforms.
Yeah.
So
such a good, good feel-good story.
Yeah. Well, talking about giving back to the students, Stephen, your next story is a good one.
This one's really cool. This is something that I wish I saw more of in the world. So, for a talented group of seniors at West Charlotte High School, paying for college is one thing that they are not going to have to worry about. A total of 11 seniors from West Charlotte's band, which is a school near Baltimore, Maryland. 11 seniors from that band were given full ride scholarships to Morgan State University in Baltimore.
Full ride?
Full rides. Full rides. Yep. That's a HBCU school near Baltimore. Their band director, Adam Sobers, he says that for his students, this opportunity is music to his ears. He says that it makes him realize what he does is really worthwhile, which sounds a bit cliche, but that as an educator, especially in today's world, these are things that make him want to come back year after year. He actually said that this is something that happens every year in their program. There are always kids for the last 7 years that have been getting scholarships. But this is the first time that every graduating senior in the band class was given this reward to set them up for success later in life. So shout out to West Charlotte High School. I'm sure there's also more folks behind the scenes involved in curating these scholarships, but that's such an amazing opportunity for them. And just something that I wish was out there more. I totally remember thinking when I was a high school senior doing drumline, like it would be really cool if I could be, working my way towards a scholarship, like maybe someone who was in athletics. So I love to see that.
that college band program is going to be fire because you've got all these kids who are like coming from the same high school that have been training together and learning
Right.
together for this long.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
good.
you know that the kids are going to want to do band. Like if they were giving me a full ride scholarship because of band,
show.
I would be in that band studio room every single day. Like
Yeah,
you
that's
wouldn't be able
great.
to get me out of it.
Yeah, that's great motivation to have even more success. And I think in that Morgan State program, knowing that, they have been given this amazing award, but it comes with a level of responsibility as well and expectation, and to have the faith in the students to be able to achieve that expectation is really kind of good. It's good in both ways. The students obviously took care of business and are going to do well, serve themselves well academically and musically. But for the community members and people behind the scenes to make these scholarships happen, it warms your heart, like you said, Stephen. So that's a great story.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Every senior gets a scholarship. That's so cool.
Awesome.
Let's talk more about scholarships. Whitney, what you got?
All right, there were a lot of scholarships given out through DCI. More than $85,000 in scholarship funds will be awarded this year to deserving DCI World and Open Class Corps members. There are actually quite a few that are still available, so if you are marching this summer and need some scholarship money, there are still some you can apply for. Some of the highlights, hold on, let me go back to that page. Friends of DCI, Fisher Goodwin, Abigail Alberga, Yunsold Kim, Brillie Massey, Michael Galindo, Kaylin Michael, Najee Abukar, Connor Carbonell, Travis Albright, and Ava Jones. Those are all from different drum corps. And there's just a ton of them. If you want to check them out, they're all on DCI in news, but there are a lot. There's a lot of memorial scholarships that have one or two winners. So please go and check out all of those winners. I mean, there's just a ton. Obviously, with $83,000 given out, they're $85,000. There's a lot of them. So please go to DCI and check that out.
So these scholarships aren't necessarily from DCI itself. They're from like these different foundations, right?
Well, the Friends of DCI has been it's from contributors. So you can donate to the DCI scholarship program, but a lot of them are kind of individuals. Like the PETH scholarship is part of the Friends of DCI scholarship program, but it's more of a memorial thing. There's a lot that are kind of outside. There's a Fred J. Miller one. A lot of like the icons that we know of have them. There's a Bonfiglio scholarship, Gary Kopinski, Michael Boo. I mean, there's a lot of them. So most of them are memorial, but there are some just like kind of regular. There's a PASIC one. There's a lot.
Nice. So if people want to contribute, they can go and figure out how to do that on DCI or apply on DCI.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for a great rehearsal this week. Thank you to our hosts. Thanks, Todd Marcocci, who will not be back next week. He has been here for the last 2 weeks. So make sure you follow him on his social media on Facebook, Under the Sun Productions. Thank you so much, Trevor, Whitney, Stephen, and Nicole. It has been so much fun chatting with you guys tonight. We're having a great time. As well as Bill from the Marching Pageantry Arts Museum, Joshua from the Drum Major Leadership Academy at DMLA Training, and Jeremy from At Drum Corps Today. Guys, go subscribe, write us a review. I was serious about wanting to read some reviews live on the podcast, so write those reviews. Share this with a friend. Follow us on social media at On a Water Break, all one word, and we will see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
Subscribe.
Go practice.
Yay.